Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. We begin from the presidency, where President Bola Tinubu has directed the immediate payment of 1.5 trillion naira owed to local contractors during the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. This was made known in a statement by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, who said Tinubu was visibly upset after the Bureau of Public Procurement Director General Dr. Adebowale Adedodun briefed the council on the scale of unpaid obligations. Tinubu has set up a multi-ministerial committee led by Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning at Barorin. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the Parliament to explain alleged non-remittance of more than 16 trillion naira. Here is National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick's report.
The uproar erupted during debate on a motion moved by chairman of the putting 5.2 trillion naira in operating surpluses, 954 million naira in withheld remitter charges, and 11 billion naira collection gap, and another 2.6 trillion naira linked to migration shortfalls. Altogether, liabilities to the federal government reportedly exceed 11 trillion naira. But tension spiked when Tijani Gali called for the creation of an expanded ad hoc committee to handle the investigation, a proposal that drew sharp objections from several lawmakers. Shouting broke out across the chamber, halting proceedings.
Disturbed that despite several formal communications and invitations extended to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria by the Public Accounts Committee to appear, provide explanations, and remit the outstanding amount into designated government account,
the officer, an appointee of the president, disregarded the invitation of a committee, one committee that was mentioned in the Constitution of this Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Efforts to restore order forced Speaker Tajin Abbas to intervene. The Speaker warned members on unruly behavior and stressed that disputes must be resolved through voting, not confrontation.
So what is the point of you always shouting as if putting that question will take away a right that belongs to you?
Soon after, Ahmed Jaha proposed an amendment reaffirming the Public Accounts Committee's authority to summon the CBN governor. The House adopted the motion through a voice vote, prompting Gali to withdraw his earlier amendments.
Inasmuch as the committee has written severally to the agency and they have not been honoring, this time around is a resolution of the House for them to appear before the committee.
In a separate development, the House also passed a motion by Said Abdullahi calling for a full waiver of COVID-19 survival loans owned by vulnerable households and micro businesses, along with a restructuring of the SME components of the facility.
This suggests that the current outstanding exposure may be significantly lower and therefore physically manageable for a structured waiver.
The House is expected to issue a fresh summons to the CBN governor in the coming days as lawmakers push for answers on the alleged multi-trillion naira discrepancies. From the National Assembly, Anita Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Let's move away from the National Assembly and tell you that as the world marks International Human Rights Day, legal experts and advocates are calling for stronger compliance with human rights laws, especially as insecurity across Nigeria continues to threaten the nation's most vulnerable groups. Again, our correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
Justice Anukam of the African Court on Human and People's Rights says Nigeria has strong legal frameworks from the Constitution to the African Charter, but compliance remains the biggest challenge. She stresses that while violations are easy to identify, the real gap lies in providing repatriations, policy changes, and protection for vulnerable groups, including women, children, and internally displaced persons.
The IDP, which is a major concern this year, I sincerely hope that we will be able to make the necessary adjustments. And the theme for this year is human rights, everyday essential.
Special Envoy to West Africa, Ambassador Charles Omini of the International Human Rights Protection Service says peace remains the first step towards justice as insecurity, kidnappings and forced displacements continue to undermine basic rights across Nigeria.
Doing our best to engage our leaders at all levels to talk to their subjects and to make sure we have peace and stability in our country, Nigeria.
The economic team lead for West Africa of the International Human Rights Protection Agency, Dr. Aisha Lawal, says it is expanding humanitarian support, especially medical aid, to displaced communities across the country.
Off the grid, we're all involved in trying to make this program that we can actually reach the needy and the needful. It's not about a speech. It's not about, how many people we want to access. It's about how many people can actually come to the table and do the needful. The system, the country is a little bit divided, and we believe with this, our program, we'll be able to reach people from different destinations.
For religious leaders, balancing rights across Nigeria's diverse communities remains critical.
And if you look at most of human rights violation, there are three main roots: spirituality, ethnicity, the one you have to do with the issue of sufficiency. Sufficiency have to do with economy, money, things you need, but spirituality have to do with people's devotion to God.
As Nigeria joins the world to reflect on this year's theme, human rights, every day, essential advocates say the message is clear. Rights must be protected everywhere, for everyone, every day. Anie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
And now to Kano State, where as reports of bandit attacks begin to emerge from some communities in the state, a civil group known as One Kano Agenda has called on security agencies to intensify effort in safeguarding lives and properties, especially in areas bordering Katsina, another bandits-prone state. Addressing a news conference at the NUJ Secretariat in Kano, the group expressed concerns over the recent spike in kidnappings across several communities, warning that the situation poses a serious threat to the state's peace and security. Global Television's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
In recent times, bandits operating from Katsina and Zamfara State have begun launching attacks on farming communities within Kano State. Reports of kidnappings and violence, particularly in Shanono local government area, have drawn the attention of a civil society group known as One Kano Agenda.
Despite Kano's proud in the history of peace and hospitality, the state is increasingly confronted with reported insecurity, handful cases of abductions, attacks on residents, and the suspicious activities in various communities, particularly in the area of Kano North. These challenges not only threaten Kano residents, but the broader northern region, because Kano serves as a home and a hub for all northern Nigerians.
Residents warn that being the commercial hub of the northern Nigeria, Kano must not be allowed to become a breeding ground for criminal activity. They stress that insecurity poses a serious threat to the region's economic stability.
Once anything touches Kano, you are touching the whole of Nigeria as a whole, because it's a commercial center of the country. My own personal view is you have to dig down and go to the root of the cause. So that will give you an insight of how to prosper a solution to what is happening.
While commending the efforts of the state government and security agencies, One Kano Agenda urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious individuals or activities to the appropriate authorities.
Recent credible reports highlight the presence of unknown individuals operating motorcycle and the commercial Okada across multiple localities. Many of these individuals do not speak Hausa fluently. This creates fears and suspicion among communities. But Alhamdulillah, we must thank God at this juncture for the decisive and the swift action of the government in collaboration with the security expert.
The group also pledged not to remain silent while criminal elements endanger the peace and development of Kano State and the country at large. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
And now to Benue State, where the Nigerian Navy has reaffirmed its dedication to improving grassroots education through its Special Intervention Quick Impact Project, with the latest initiative commissioned in Otagbe, Oklehi community of Okpoga in Okpogu local government area of Benue State, facilitated by Rear Admiral Robert Obeya. The project reflects the Chief of the Naval Staff's commitment to strengthening civil-military relations and advancing the federal government's development objectives. Our correspondent, Felicity Ndere, completes the story.
It was a moment of celebration in Otagbe Oklanyi community as the Nigerian Navy commissioned 3 newly constructed classrooms with a staff room, alongside the renovation of 5 additional classrooms and other educational facilities at Otagbe Oklanyi Primary School in Benue State. Before now, the school was in poor condition, cracked walls, leaking roofs, broken decks, and dim classrooms, with some lessons held under trees and years of neglect hindered effective learning. The Special Intervention Quick Impact Project, undertaken by an illustrious son of the community, Rear Admiral Robert Obeya, marks yet another significant milestone in the Nigerian Naval Civil Cooperation efforts.
And I'm always concerned about education. And education starts from the primary level. And that is one of the most important levels, education, before you get to the secondary level. That's why I looked at this primary school. I said, if we want to improve education within our communities, the best place to start is with the primary schools, so that the students here will start striving higher.
Representing the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, Commander Muhammad says the project provides a way for the Navy to honor its accomplished senior officers, showing that its commitment goes beyond safeguarding lives and property and also contributing meaningfully to national development.
I wish to enjoin the beneficiaries of this project, whom are the pupils that gave us some nice presentation a few moments ago, that you should please take care of these facilities and let it endure. Treat it as your own, so that it will be available for your continuous use and for those that will come after you.
Speaking on behalf of the Deputy Governor Sam Odi, Chairman of Otagbe Local Government Area Maxwell Ogiri commended the Nigerian Navy for going beyond security operations to make meaningful investment in education.
The state government resolved to commend the effort of Rear Admiral Robert Obeya, and we must encourage this one so that others will be challenged to do their quarters for the growth and development of the community.
The commissioning marks a significant step in the Navy's community development efforts, highlighted by the handover of renovated classrooms, a headmaster's office, latrine facilities, and school furniture at Otagbe Oklanyi Primary School. From Okpoku Local Government Area of Benue State, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Back here in Abuja, former Minister of Health Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu has described antimicrobial resistance as a silent pandemic, so also major problems that should be funded not only by the international donors but domestic funding, as it is deadly. Professor Onyebuchi stated this during the Commonwealth Partnership for Antimicrobial Stewardship Nigeria Close Out and Sustainable event. Our correspondent Zara Unasir has the details.
It was a gathering of medical professionals, academicians, representatives from the NCDC, NAFDAC, with non-governmental organizations and other related fields who gathered to discuss progress, challenges, with future initiatives concerning antimicrobial resistance. Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu added that West African Sub-Sahara have the highest mortality rates related to antimicrobial resistance. For Nigeria, he says, the issue needs to be enlightened to the public, more especially how to avoid it.
Globally, like you pointed out, this antimicrobial resistance is a silent pandemic, silent in the fact that people don't see the mortality, as it were. It showed that West Africa, the West African Sub-Saharan region, had the highest mortality related to antimicrobial resistance. That mortality is like for every 100,000 people, 227 actually die as a result of antimicrobial resistance.
In her remark, the organizer of the event, Mrs. Estelle Baduwe, a pharmacist, said the program is an opportunity to bring different systems and strategies to see how to combat antimicrobial resistance in Nigeria.
So the antimicrobial stewardship is a mechanism how we look at this. Resistant antimicrobials is basically the fact that the drugs are no longer working. The drugs that normally work to treat infections like bacteria, fungi is no longer working. So we're trying to see how we can combat this issue and really help to deliver quality healthcare in Nigeria and beyond.
During the event, papers were presented by different resource persons on the importance of avoiding abuse of drugs and improper prescription and incomplete dosages, with poor infection control, with poor hygiene as part of things that causes antimicrobial resistance. Zahra Unazir, reporting for Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of the Midday News. When the Midday News returns, Central Bank of Nigeria delists non-compliant Bureau de Change operators. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back from that break, and now to business news, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced that all legacy Bureau de Change operators who fail to meet its new licensing requirement by 13 November deadline have automatically lost their licenses. The CBN, in a statement published on its website, confirmed that only 82 Bureau de Change operators met the revised capital and compliance standard introduced in 2024. The Apex Bank says it will continue receiving new applications on its licensing portal, but retains the authority to discontinue Bureau de Change licensing at any time. Still talking business, Bitcoin has fallen below the $90,000 mark as renewed concerns over artificial intelligence profitability triggered fresh volatility across the global crypto market. The cryptocurrency dropped by 2.5%, alongside a 4.3% slide in Ether after the United States tech stocks weakened when executives, including those at Oracle, warned that rising AI infrastructure spending was not yet translating into the profit investors expected. The decline comes days after Standard Chartered cut its end 2025 Bitcoin forecast from $200,000 to $100,000 and follows market uncertainty sparked by the United States Federal Reserve's latest interest cuts. And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene. Beninese authorities say Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, the alleged leader of the last Sunday's failed coup, has fled to the Lomé district of Togo after escaping security forces in Cotonou. Government officials say at least 14 suspects have been arrested, even as Benin Republic confirmed it received Nigerian and French support to foil the takeover. President Patrice Talon has formally asked Togo for Tigri's extradition, describing the coup attempt as treachery that will not go unpunished. Away from Africa to the United States, where President Donald Trump confirmed that American forces have seized a large crude oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, calling it the largest ever seized under sanction enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the tanker, previously sanctioned for moving Iranian and Venezuelan oils linked to Hezbollah and Iraq's Quds Force, was intercepted in a joint operation involving various United States security forces. Venezuela's government denounced the act as an international piracy, warning it further threatens the country's embattled oil export route. Now to Australia, where the government has become the first country to ban social media for children under 16, blocking access in a move welcomed by many parents and child advocates. Also has been criticized by major technology companies and free speech advocates. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called it a proud day for families the law as proof that policymakers can curb online harm that have outpaced traditional safeguards. Our correspondent Uyi Agumafwegbe, who has been tracking the conversation, brings us details.
The new regulation requires giant tech companies, including TikTok, Alphabet, and Meta, to block children or face fines of up to 49.5 million Australian dollars, which is being closely watched by regulators worldwide. In a video message, Albanese urged children to redirect their energy and time to more valuable engagements like reading a book or learning an instrument ahead of Australia's summer school break starting later this month. The Prime Minister noted that the new piece of legislation is a game changer, one that holds the promise of recalibrating the country's social-cultural landscape.
This reform will change lives for Australian kids and allowing them to just have their childhood. For Australian parents, enabling them to have greater peace of mind. But also for the global community who are looking at Australia and saying, well, if Australia can do it, why can't we?
He also sent a vital message to big tech, highlighting their role in driving the new measure across the world.
So it is about, as well, importantly, pushing back against big tech, saying that social media companies have a social responsibility.
Many of the estimated 1 million children affected by the legislation have also posted goodbye messages on social media. Uyi Agumafwegbe, reporting for Global TV News. The new regulation requires.
And now to the world of sports, where the National Sports Commission has launched a new integrity unit to intensify Nigeria's crackdown on age cheating and other unethical practices. The Commission's Director General Bukola Ologbade said the unit was created after the National Council of Sport approved the criminalization of age falsification at its November meeting in Calabar. Ologbade said the unit will work closely with sports federations, the Anti-Doping Office, and the Elites and Podium Board to ensure compliance with global standards. And now to football, where Manchester City defeated Real Madrid 2-1 at the Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday, deepening uncertainty over Madrid manager Xabi Alonso's future. Goals from Rodrigo scored first for Real Madrid, but Nico O'Reilly and Erling Haaland penalty turned the match around for Pep Guardiola's side. Spanish media outlets report that club officials are considering Alonso's position after a run of just 2 wins in 8 matches and Mbappe's continued injury absence. In the meantime, Arsenal have extended their 100% Champions League run with a 3-0 victory over Club Brugge in Belgium. Noni Madueke opened the scoring with a long-range strike and added a second with a header before Gabriel Martinelli sealed the win with a curling finish. Manager Mikel Arteta's side, already qualified for the knockout, now appears set for a top 8 finish, an automatic passage to the round of 16. That's it on the Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using our Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.